Hi there, it is Dr. JOYLYN Maniaci, and welcome to your Power Hour. It is your time to put what's on your mind on my mind. And actually, I will say, today's a little bit different. We're doing a pep talk, kind of like a throwback to Power Hours of old where I sort of just spitballed, because today I'm putting what's on my mind on your mind. So each week for Power Hour, I love our conversations, and I pull together things that are coming from the universe, from my clients, from my life, from this group, all of it to create and produce something for you. And this week, I had the worst case of writer's block, and I could not put my thoughts together. And I kept asking, what is it that's being asked? What do you guys need to hear? And finally, I just asked, what do I need to hear? What do I need to hear? And I will say it for me. And what's amazing is as soon as I put that out there, then several of you were like, I'm there. I can't wait. I need to hear this, because that's just how we're all connected. Badasses. We've got our little spidey sense and we're connected here. So what I need, you need, and what you need, I need, we are here for each other. And that's what consciousness actually is and does. It connects us. And I have been more and more blown away with the efficiency of the universe in that nothing gets wasted. Nothing. To where if it is beneficial for me, someone else will benefit. If it is, and that just keeps working out. I just keep seeing it work out, and it's amazing. So today, a pep talk, because sometimes we all just need it because we are in the shit. And when we're there, it's easy to lose perspective, to wonder why we're doing this in the first place. Is the good ever going to happen? What's really going on here? And it's hard. You know, it can be hard. This work is not for the faint of heart. That's why I call you badasses. Because there is a certain level of grit to having this level of self-awareness and wanting to untangle yourself from old conditioning and old programming so that you can have more of yourself and be more available to yourself and create new ways of being for you and being a model. Because so many of us don't know which end is up, because what was modeled and shown to us isn't working, but that's all we've known. So that if we start to pioneer and create new ways of being, those become a model for other people. We make it easier for other people to walk this path. And for me, that's a huge part of why to keep doing this, because I want us on a new timeline. I have, my mother so much thinks that, you know, you pay your dues and everybody does this. Not me. I want you to jump off my shoulders, because there's too much stuff to do. The world is in need of healing to where I just don't see us having all this time. Like, I was joking with somebody about how my life is the Cliff's Notes, and where I have such a space for non-judgmental space, because once I went out with the same guy 5 times over a span of 2.5 years. Ridiculous. We don't all have time for that bullshit. If I can cut that down from 5 to 3 to 2, or just one time where you're just like, I got that information, I don't need to do that relationship again, great. Then you can move on to something else and be having more of you, and I don't know, figuring out how to get plastics out of the ocean, actually getting COVID off the planet, or whatever it is, changing your generational legacy so that we're no longer dealing with this level of pain. Okay, that's why I do what I do. That's what I want to be for you here. And I know that in that, the work sucks sometimes. There are some days the best you can do is just make it till tomorrow, if you can even do that, because sometimes that's tough. And let me tell you, ever since, seriously, like summer solstice, it's been bam, 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 bam. There's been some sort of astrological planetary event that's, yes, opening doors, but also bringing up some of the stuff that we're going to have to leave behind to step through that door. And there's some pain and identity crisis in this. Who am I? What am I doing? And it can be intense. And I talk so much about handling emotional intensity because what we learned wasn't really mature, or it's no longer meeting the moment, so we have to learn how to do that. And then to become new versions of ourselves. I don't even know who this is. I don't even know how to operate this way because I never have. So that's what I want to give a little bit of pep talk about and just give you little snippets, pearls, nuggets, whatever you want to call them, just little pieces that you can hang on to. Because here's one of the things that really worked for me, because I know you guys are badass, you guys have grit, you're willing to go for it, but I also know because a lot of you were gifted children, like myself, and you are ready to have it already, and wondering why you don't have it already. And so you drive and drive and drive and try and strive and keep going when sometimes you just need a fucking break. The universe is already doing what it is that you've directed it to do because it always says yes. But sometimes we just need a little bit of space. And what actually finally helped me get that was that every sport has a timeout built into it. There is no sport where you really play from beginning to end. There's either a way to substitute players out or for the team to actually take a timeout and gather, get a little pep talk from their coach, get a little perspective, see what's going on, get a breath, get a drink, and then you go back into the game. Now, when I went into individual sports, I thought, well, that doesn't exist anymore, you know? And if I start riding my bike, I ride from here to there. But then when you start getting into those sports, you see, no. They have shinies, they've got coaches, and they get food breaks when they're on really long endurance runs. My ex-husband rode his bike and he'd be like, well, I took breaks. What? I thought you started at point A and got to point B and you didn't stop until you got to point B. It's not true. The human body isn't designed that way. The planet's not designed that way. The process isn't designed that way. So that if we need to tap out and take a break to reconnect with ourselves, reconnect with a coach, in some way refresh our perspective, it's absolutely, totally fine. Valuable. Supported and suggested, actually. This whole grinding and trying to prove that you can do it isn't working. It's going to end up grinding us into the ground. We don't have to do it. It's madness. So here's your Power Hour Pep Talk. There's part 1. And I'm probably just going to start checking things off. I don't have an organized outline like I normally do. We're just hitting some stuff. And a lot of these things that I've gotten, I have to move my little friend, are coming and being informed, as yours will, by all of the things that I've done before, to where every little bit counts. Baby steps, they're all cumulative and they're all moving you. Now what we're getting more and more of is the divine feminine. It was a dance the whole time. It wasn't a march. Oh my goodness, we've been marching like ants in a line when really it was a dance. So of course the steps are going to be in different directions. Sometimes a side step, sometimes a shuffle, maybe a little bit of a shimmy, but they're all going to come together. That's just magnificent. Let that be a perspective shift. We're not marching. This isn't grudge work or drudge work, okay? Let there be some lightness in the step and trust that the steps are going to come together. The universe is choreographing. So there is no way that you're going to fall off the stage, okay? And you might not like your costume at the moment, but hey, once you figure out what it's for and how it's playing into it, you're going to rock it. All right? But all these things are coming. And how I'm going to do is do what I do with my magic. I'm a relationship coach. And I was telling one of my coaches, because, you know, I was like, have you seen the movie My Big Fat Greek Wedding? Where he goes, give me 2 words, any 2 words. I tell you how they start from Greece. And I'm like that with relationships. You give me any two things, and I'll tell you how they're related. So we're bringing in naturopathic medicine, improv comedy, access consciousness, sports, all of it, because that's how, and it's coming through me. And so I'll just kind of, some of the few things that I did write down for you to just let them sink in. Tuck them away, hear them. I'll say them probably a million more times in our time together, and they'll sink in, and it'll just be like an aha, okay? But one of them that's coming from improv, the way that improv says is to let it land. Now, the way that naturopathic medicine says first do no harm, that is to first do nothing. And that's all about not reacting. The biggest thing that we've got to do coming out of whatever it is that we're doing, like our work, is to just not immediately go into reaction, which sometimes is the hardest thing to do because it's the most natural feeling because it's what we've done the most often. But then I was looking at the power of the word let. And how many times I even have this here, I'll even put it, you guys don't know this, but right next to where I film for Power Hour is my altar, and it has all my collection of my rock friends and things. But one thing in here, and you can't read it because it's going to be backwards, but fortune cookies apparently speak to me. And this one, no, this was a tea bag. Let things come to you. Let it. We don't always have to be trying and striving and reaching and grabbing and pulling. There are some things we're just going to claim, but then we can let them come to us. I remember one of the most powerful Vipassana meditations I ever did. I was in the middle of what I call was the divorce with my sister. We were breaking up a codependent relationship as far as how we got our identity from each other because we were twins. And it was so painful. And in that she was, like preferring someone else over me. Like there was this whole house situation. But I was sitting on my mat and this voice came down and just said, let it hurt. There was no way it wasn't going to hurt. So I more or less cried for the hour of my Vipassana meditation and just watched it hurt. But that was such a powerful moment of relief and release, because instead of trying to make it go away, instead of trying not to feel what I was feeling, to just let it be there. And then I've started saying, let the dots connect. We keep wanting to, we're problem solvers, we're intelligent, and a lot of us see patterns, but as it's emerging, sometimes we want it so bad, and we look for it, but then we end up focusing on something that takes us away, and we lose our perspective. Let the dots connect. Like those little 3D things that used to be on the back of a cereal box, and you have to let your eyes go out of focus so the picture can pop up. It's sometimes like that. You sometimes just have to relax. Or just shift your attention to something else so that these dots can connect and you can see the bigger picture. Let it be easy. Oh my God, we're so used to the struggle and coming from the family systems that we did, that we have to try so hard to get attention. We have to have a good reason for everything we feel. We have to justify every move we make. But what if we don't have to do that anymore? What if it could actually just be easy and we just be ourselves? We could let it be easy and let someone love us. Because there are people out there who want to love you just because you're you. And it's going to blow your mind because that's not what you came into here. But they are there. And the more that we start recognizing that that's a possibility, it can be easy. And when we listen to our hearts and we know that when we get rid of the resistance of that doesn't make any sense and ooh, that's scary, but we're kind of just well, if I actually look at it, it's never been wrong. Those have always been the biggest, greatest adventures that turn out the best. What if I just let this be easy? That's been a big difference with my divorce and choosing to move. If you guys didn't know, I'm moving to California and letting it be easy. To not even go into the, oh my God, I'm so scared. I'm not. I'm actually not scared of this. I'm really excited. Yeah, I'm nervous. I'm curious what the heck my soul is trying to do, because me and California aren't the most intuitive match as far as politics and economics. But there's something there that my body and my soul said that's where the next move is. And I said, okay, I'm going to trust you. We're going to go there. And to let it be easy instead of putting all this resistance in the way, okay? and to let the good in. Let things come. Let the good come. So many of us are prepared for the worst. And in doing so, thinking we're so intelligent. But I wrote a blog, and maybe I'll put the link up. I wrote about the intelligence of optimism. I grew up with a pessimistic realist, and I thought my dad was really intelligent. He had a good job. He seemed like a smart guy, good head on his shoulders, but always looking at what wasn't there. And I've really picked up that habit. I really notice what's not there and what could have been better. And a lot of women, this is how our brains actually work, is to see what could have been better. And there is some love in there, and there is just some gender training in there. But also there's some trauma in there of getting ready for the next hit to come. Whatever it's going to be, whether it was physical, emotional, neglect, we were prepared. And our adrenals are now set to that, to where it's like, oh, okay, it's good. Watch out. Something's going to happen here because this is how it always goes. But we're actually rewriting our programming. We are rewriting how our life is going to go and saying, that sucks. It sucked. I didn't deserve that. I was coming in a broken system from wounded people, so I can see why. But I'm also saying goodbye to that, to where that's no longer what my future is going to be. And now I have to recalibrate my nervous system and actually start looking for the good and seeing what is here and what is available and what is next. And that's the future forward. But it also leads me into the next thing that I wrote down, which is in naturopathic medicine, we have the principles of naturopathic medicine, one of which is the vis medicatrix naturae, which is the healing power of nature. And that's what it means with the body in botanical medicine, like the healing power of nature. But basically your system is organized. Consciousness is organizing you. You want to get better. If your body is cut, it heals. There is a self-organizing principle, and if we allow ourselves to be in and of nature, we will of nature heal. And guess what? We can't not. We're part of consciousness. So we want to be organized and congruent and in resonance with what is with our highest benefit. And the other part of that if I bring in a little bit of a different sphere, is the universe has your back. You are never alone. Not ever. Not even for a single second. You can be lonely, but you're never isolated. Nothing you do exists in a vacuum. Your life, in fact, is a gift to the collective. And once you start seeing it that way, it changed how I thought about what I was doing with mine. Was I really willing just to waste it and to make the same mistake over and over and over? But if I made it over and even satisfied my scientific mind curiosity, because you get it when you get it. But once I actually did that, do I have to keep doing it to prove it? Or can I just offer this to the collective and say, okay, now I'm going to move on and learn something else? And that's one of the gifts I recognize about myself. I'm a pioneer. I like to just go and do stuff, because one of the gifts that I have is I'm not really afraid of fucking up. Tattoos, moving to different places with people that I don't know very well. I'm okay to do these things and come back and let people know what I learned. And more I say my life is like Cliff's Notes. And more I'm also learning that trust is really only coming down to two entities, and that's me and the universe. And Einstein himself said, your biggest choice in your whole life is to decide whether the universe is benevolent or whether it's against you. And once you choose that I'm part of a universe that's got my back and it's part of me, everything changes from there. And the thing is, really only one of them's true. It always has your back, and it's always saying yes. Now we just have to understand how our creative power works to see that the same principles are applying. We've just been so worried and putting so much creative energy and attention into what could possibly go wrong that's what we've created. We've made our past and what we'd like to avoid our reference point, so we generate and energize that and create more of that. But now we know if that's just how it's working, and the universe is neutral, it doesn't have an opinion about what we choose, then that's where our autonomy, our sovereignty comes in. We just get to choose what we energize. Well, let me look at the future and what I'd actually like to create and live in as my reality. And then I start creating that way, and it's a different way of being. Another one, and this comes from just about any way, shape, or form you can say it. There's a lot to say about failure. Failure isn't final. That's the biggest thing. The only way it's final is if you end it. And even then, you're infinite, so you can't really. So there is no failure. Failure is just a perception. All it is feedback. All of these F's, future, forward, focus, failure isn't final, failure is just feedback. It's just information. It's just information. Whether or not it gets classified as a failure is just a matter of what label you put on it. So if you're failing, recognize that a lot of times that's just something that we are sensing, a feeling inside our body that we don't like how it is, and we are concluding that it's all bad because we've gone too much into the subconscious that can only use the past, so we don't have our creative imagination to see how it could turn out different. But failure isn't final unless we stop. And there is also, it's not necessarily quitting when you stop. Sometimes when your curiosity is satisfied, you can stop. If you've gotten to the point where the feedback is, this isn't fun for me, I don't want to do this anymore, that's okay. But if you're getting to where this is frustrating, I feel like I'm failing, but I know there is something for me on the other side, then it's not final. And you just keep on keeping on. And how do you do that when it feels so awful? Well, let's see what else I've got here for you that can help you to keep on going when the going gets tough, because it really does sometimes. Here's one. I came up with this all by myself. If you can do it once, you can do it again. We're creating new ways of being, and a lot of us, if you've been in a 90-day relationship remodel, you know that a lot of what you're actually learning is how to be the parent you didn't get when you were young. It wasn't fair. It's not necessarily what you deserved or didn't deserve, because I believe every child deserves the unconditional love, but we came into a system with people who did not know what that was or how to deliver that, so we didn't get it. But we have to learn how to start giving that to ourselves so that we do know how to have it, where to get it, where the source is, so that we know it can never be turned off. And if we've done it once, we can do it again. That is not to say that once we've done it, we will do it every single time perfectly from then on. But it means that it's available to do it again. And here's the other thing. You've already done it once. You have given up an identity so completely and fully. You've done that more than once. I'll give you some examples. You don't wear diapers. You walk on two legs. Both of these required you to actually give up who you were, as far as someone who could always just put up their hands and have somebody else carry them from one place to another. Someone who actually had to learn how to get the signals from their sphincter and their brain and relay all that information to know that, oh, when this feels like this, I need to be moving towards the bathroom and I have to pull down my pants and sit on this funny seat, and that way I get rewarded and things don't smell. And then when I'm done, I wipe and I pull these pants back up and then I can go back and play, okay? But that was a lot of learning. Can you think about how many synaptic channels were created and pruned in that? You've done it once. You can do it again. You've gotten off of crawling. Now you're a biped. You're walking on two legs. And with that, you've got two free limbs and you can use them at will. But this required you to let go of being someone who was dependent on someone else. And let me tell you, there's some real comfort and reassurance in being a dependent, knowing somebody else is going to do something for you. But to really have you more fully and completely, you got to be willing to do it on your own. And you've already done it because you're here. So if you've done it once, you can do it again. And I'm telling you, you've already done it more than once. So you can totally do it again. So you're already badass, okay? The other one that I'll tell you, and this one's not lovely. It's going to take longer than you like. A lot of you are gifted, super gifted, and fast, very intelligent, and used to things coming really, really fast. So wondering why this one isn't happening so fast. Because it's bigger. Because the things involved have been structures and institutions for a long time, sometimes even coming from past lifetimes we brought them in. Sometimes there are other moving pieces, other people, other cities, other things that the universe it's like nothing's wasted. So there are more moving parts, and some of them are bigger and take a little bit more impetus to move. So it's not just as simple as putting my pen to paper and learning how to write my name, or seeing how numbers fit together. It might just be like learning how to handle a giant emotion in a different way, how to actually verbalize and be willing to be vulnerable and say, I'd like some attention here. I don't know exactly why. Do I need to know why? It's just a human need to want attention from someone else because we're social animals. But can I have your attention, please? I don't even know what I'll do with it. I don't even know if I can totally handle it, because every time I get a compliment, I have to throw it and back at you. These are all skills we're learning. And so and the change is always happening on an energetic level first, and it's happening inside of you first. And what we've all been trained is what's outside, like even my husband's from Missouri, the show me state, show it to me. That's how I'll know. Seeing is believing. So once I see it outside of myself, then I can believe it. When really that's backwards. We have to just know and trust I'm part of the universe and I make the call, and so the universe is going to wrap itself around my intention. That's how powerful I am, okay? But in the doing so, in the actual manifestation, the realization, and the things that I can witness tangibly and visibly, that takes a little time. And a little bit longer than we like. But let me tell you that if you hang in there and you're consistent in your belief of this is happening, it's going to turn out for me, I know this to be true for myself, it does happen. And I'm going to tell you for myself, so I'm here with you guys, I know I'm a good coach. I've got such a tight bullshit meter that we don't waste a lot of time with a lot of narrative and story. We can just pow, bam, smack, go into that. Yeah, I see some hearts. Selena knows what I'm talking about. She's in a 90-day relationship or model. That we're at the heart of the matter really soon. And that speaks also to your badassery, because I can't do that if you're not willing to go there, okay? But I'm a good coach, and I know I shine in conversation, and I love one-on-one conversations. Now, moving into this challenge that I'm creating this group app and starting to create a group dynamic so that there is a little bit of leeway as far as finances and what you want to dip your toe in and how you want to interact with me on the way there, and to broaden my offerings, moving into group coaching. And not necessarily, I do not feel that I shine in people management. I'm not a hospitality major. Okay, shocking, maybe, okay, because I say the word fuck all the time. So that's not what the hospitality industry would have you do. So people management is not necessarily, and we had a group call yesterday, and I get off and I'm thinking, okay, I think it went okay. But not rock solid in the confidence, wondering what I could have done better. I wish I would have said that. Did I do this? Did I start this too soon? Was I too abrupt? All those things. But what's different now is I just let those questions be there, and I don't react to them, all the way back to the beginning about just not reacting and just letting it sit. And being curious about what could I do better? How was this? What is really going on here? What am I aware of? And then this morning to get a text from somebody saying, hey, last night was really helpful for me. I wasn't in the headspace to begin, but then it really got that way and I really got a lot out of it. And it was like, oh my goodness, there was the external validation. Thank you, universe. I just had to wait a couple more minutes. And then I asked her if I could share her story, because her experience, she's wanted to be more powerful. And there's been a lot of the relationship that she was remodeling ended up being a relationship at work with a coworker. Not even what she intentionally came in with, but it was changing. And it's to the point where she's recognizing I'm more valuable than this job. And if I have to leave this job so I can have my mental health because this person is not changing the dynamic and the management isn't going to step in and say this needs to happen when it's affecting the whole atmosphere, that she's like, I'm going to walk. I'm willing to walk. And she's like, I'm nauseous. I'm excited, but I'm scared as shit. I've never ever said this to anyone before. And she actually told the management this is what it's moving to. And I will bet if you're watching, if I could give a hint, she's either going to get a raise because they're going to know she's valuable and they want to keep her, or if it gets to be where everybody ducks down and they won't rise and she's willing to, she's going to move on, but it's always going to be better because she's saying, I am calling the shots in my life and my peace and my confidence is worth more than anything else. The universe is going to say, you bet your ass it is. Here you go. And it's going to be some sort of position that lets her, that contributes and generates more power and more confidence in and for her. There is no way she's moving backwards off of this. That's not to say that from this point on, it's going to be super easy and there's not going to be anything scary. But, and here's one of the gifts that I have. I'm like, wow, I really respond backwards because she's telling me she's nauseous. And I'm like, I'm really sorry about that because nausea is difficult to deal with. But I'm fucking stoked as hell. Rock on. This is so awesome. I am so excited for you and I can't wait to hear how this goes. And that even reminded me of when I was in medical school. I worked in the financial aid office. One of the financial aid advisors that I was friends with was just in a new relationship and she comes in all sad one day and I was like, hey, what's up? And she's like, I got in a fight with my boyfriend. And she was just so distraught and I immediately was like, high five. And she was like, what are you talking about? I was like, your relationship's real now. This is just a hiccup. This is just a benchmark. This is a milestone. There's no relationship that's going to go the distance without some sort of conflict. She's thinking that, oh, the honeymoon phase is over. We're moving towards breakup because we had a fight. And I'm looking at it being like, sweet, you got a stripe. Figure out how to work through this together. You're rock solid. Guess what? They're married now. Okay? My brain works differently and I'd like it to be available for you because sometimes you just need a shift, a reframe, a refresh to be like, this shit isn't all bad. It's just really uncomfortable right now. And I'll give you another example. I know we're coming up on time here, but in a lot of what I've been asking for in my life, in the last 2 days, I have become acutely aware of a lot of hate. Absolute fucking hate in my system for some specific individuals. And let me tell you, it's going against every bit of programming I have as a good Christian little girl that that's not right. It's not okay to hate. You can't hate people. And also knowing as a naturopath that hate damages the body. I'm coding some shit quality DNA while I'm in hate. But here's the other thing I know. It's there. It's there and it's got a message for me. So how do I have this hate, abide with the hate, not act on it, not react to it, and also not try to make it go away because it's here so that I can have all of me, but how do I get it to where I get the message so I resolve it because I don't want to hold this forever. It's heavy and it's really hurting and where it sits is right here and I've been having jaw problems. To where it's like, and this is where when you feel like you're really fucking up, it's probably because you're doing something so new you don't know how to do it. So that when you're feeling like a failure, I want you to give yourself a high five and say, this is because I am in uncharted territory. I just don't know who I am right now because I've never shown up this way. But if you've listened to me enough and you've got a future forward focus, you have some priorities to look to that will say, how do I want to show up here? Well, when it gets really charged, it's easy to be like, I don't fucking know. But if you've already set them, you can say, that's what I said I was going to do. So if all else fails, I'm just going to say, how would that energy show up here? And one of mine, I have 3 at the moment because I generally work in 3s. Queen, resolved, and delighted. So I could say, how could I delight in this hate? Completely counterintuitive, but it lets me actually have some lightness with what's present. And in that, I actually got the idea of me sitting down and coloring with hate sitting right next to me. Let me tell you the reason, and everybody notices, my dog loves me more than any other human being on the planet. And part of the reason is I didn't rush him. I knew he was coming from a tough background. I got him when he was 2. I didn't know what he'd been in or through. I could tell by certain movements that he was really scared of, that it wasn't the best. But what I did was I just let him be him. And everything that I did, I just said, hey, bud, I'm opening the refrigerator door. Hey, I'm going to go sit on the couch. Do you want to sit next to me? Hey, here's some food if you want to eat it. Hey, my lap's available if you want me to pet you. And I just invited him to everything that he did. But I didn't make him do anything. To where if he got scared, I didn't take it personally. If he didn't sit on my lap, I didn't force him to be on my lap and pet him to get used to me. I just let him come to me. I let him. To where I'm just going to be like, all right, hey, I don't know. I know you have a message for me. I don't know what it is. I know that I can't hold you forever because that's not how I want to be. It's heavy and it's not in line with who I want to be as total consciousness and a being of love and light. But you're here right now and you're here for a reason. You've got a message for me, but I'm going to give you some time to speak up. I can't just shake you by the shoulders and say, what is it? I tried that. It didn't work. I journaled and nothing came up. So I was like, all right, I'm just gonna, all right, there it is. But I don't have to act on it and I don't have to stare at it. Just letting you know it's being there. And then also, yeah, sometimes I get frustrated. Is this ever gonna end? Is this gonna change? But you know what? Yes, it will. How do I know? Because nothing ever has lasted forever. The other thing I know, the universe has my back. And I said, I'm not going to have this forever, so I know that I'm not. The universe is working this out. And then what else can I do in the in-between? I can use all my other tools. I've got tapping. I've got naturopathic medicine. I started a Bach flower remedy. And I do the journaling. I am getting some extra sleep because sometimes I just need some integration time. I'm taking more rest. I'm paying attention to my bodily needs because my body's actually going to be part of this processing. So that every single part of this, the universe has your back. Let things come. Let it be easy. Flow with it. Ask what the message is. How does it want to move? How would you like to move with it? How would you like to move it? And again, just running away from it, it never totally goes away. Okay, you know that. You've done that enough. We've all done that enough. So how do we sit with it? And when we feel like and here's the thing. In doing this, I am doing the best I have ever done. Because at the beginning, what happens is you're able to do it a little bit longer than you could, and then you face plant. And you blow up all over the place, and then you have to pick up the pieces, sweep up the collateral damage, straighten out, dust yourself off, and then you start over. And the next time you're able to hold it a little bit longer, and then you face plant, and then, back to the old habit. Until it gets to the time where you're not face planting. You're kind of off balance and you're stumbling a little bit. You're kind of looking at your watch like, good grief. If you've ever done, we had a 6-minute drill in high school basketball. Yeah, if that thing could have been shortened by 1 to 4 minutes, that'd be great. So you look at your watch, how much more time do we have? But you're going to make it because you made it the day before. And then all of a sudden, sometimes you're just like, holy shit, we're already at the end. I actually did that one okay. That wasn't bad. It's going to get easier. You just keep going to it. You just keep going at it. If nothing else, let me finish this Power Hour Pep Talk with saying, you've got grit. You are a badass. You already have what it takes to handle this. Just put your future forward and make that more important than what's going on at the moment, and it will give you the capacity to expand so that you can hold it and move. Then you will know whether it's time to set it down, whether it's time to chip off some part of it, set it down, pick it back up. Like, there's so many options here, okay? But you can do it. You're already doing it. And knowing that your success is inevitable. Who you are becoming is inevitable if you're willing to keep on keeping on. And if you have to take a break, there is no problem there. No problem at all. Breaks are absolutely essential. And if you are having a really frazzled time, you probably just need to take a break and reconnect with yourself. a couple of breaths, a bath, a nap, a walk in nature, coloring in a coloring book. I'm not kidding. Things from childhood really help. Legos. Yeah. Sometimes you just need something to do with your hands to just move. Let your mind settle on something else so that you're not just staring at the problem. All of these things are going to help. The dots are connecting and they are going to connect. You are going to see it. You are intelligent. So that even though it might not be happening as fast as you'd like, your learning curve's short, so you're going to get it. I want you to hang in there. I know this is sort of all over the place, and so I really appreciate you giving me audience today and letting me just kind of give you what I got today and sharing what maybe I need to replay this and hear this for myself. But you're doing great, and I want you to know that. Just like in improv and on stand-up, everybody gets so nervous, we're willing to do what 90% of people wouldn't even attempt to do, which is get on stage and look like a fool in front of people. You are willing to do something different. You are willing to challenge your habits and create a new way of being, to create a new version of you that has never existed before, and offer that then to the collective as far as this is a way to be that I never saw, but that's now available for others to see, witness, and be inspired by, so that we don't all have to just wallow in the muck and the mud and figure it out on our own. We can see somebody else being like, I saw them go out that way. I can go out that way. And once you're out, you don't have to jump back in. That's the other beautiful thing. You just go and you keep on going and keep creating. Guys, it really does get better. This really is a different way of being, and it really does get easier the more that we do it. The more that we release judgment, the faster we go. And if you are struggling, I want you to know I am available for you. You have this group. I do Power Hour every week. Now, if we're in a DM, I want you to be prepared that I'm going to offer coaching as a viable option. And that's not because I'm a greedy son of a bitch who only cares about money. It's because I know what I'm capable of, and you being willing to be vulnerable and raise your hand and say, I'm ready for help. I know your soul's ready. So that if you put us two together, fucking unstoppable, because what I've got is confidence for you to lean on until yours is strong enough to do it on your own. You're going to get pep talks like this. You're going to get the come to Jesus talks like, what the fuck are you doing? Pull your head out of your ass, but in a way that you don't end up feeling like shit. You end up feeling empowered, because I'm going to hold a non-judgmental space for you, because I don't need you to come and build my self-esteem. I'm good. What I want is for you to have unshakable confidence and self-esteem. I want you to understand the process of change so that you know how to do it from now on. I want you to be curious about the next version of yourself and be like Anna and quaking in her shoes of, I have never stood up and said something this powerfully to another human being, let alone my management team. And to have somebody in your corner who says, fuck yeah, this is the most awesome thing I've ever seen. Thank you for sharing this with me. Because it gives a reframe to her. It's not scary. This is exciting. It doesn't feel like we thought it would feel, and easy doesn't always look like we thought it would. But it's available, and I am here for you, and I want you to be in a 90-day relationship remodel, to remodel the relationship you have with yourself so that you know you're the source of unconditional love. You're the source. You are the sovereignty. You are the will that the universe is going to wrap around, and it will. And I'm going to give you the tools, and then in becoming this new version of you, you're going to need some new skills because the shit we got in childhood isn't working. So there's some things to fine-tune. Working through all that. Got your back, okay? Resources are available. And like Selena said, non-judgmental accountability. If you're curious at all about what it's like to work with me, I'm Selena I'm going to put you out there as far as ask her. She's worked with me. There's a couple of others. If you are curious, put in the group if anybody's willing to talk and have a conversation so you can hear it other than me. Because yes, I'm awesome and I think you're awesome, so I think we'd be a great fit. But if you want to hear a different perspective, totally understandable, do your due diligence and ask somebody who's gone through it, okay? But it's available for you. I'm here for you. and in 90 days. So that means that if you started today, before Thanksgiving you'd have a shift, before Christmas you'd have a shift, and before New Year's you'd have a shift, and you'd be a different you from this holiday season to the end of it. No kidding. It's that fast. Okay? So just think about that. Message me if you're curious. I'm ready to work with you. I would love to work with you. And I know I'm not supposed to do this because coaching says this, but the 6-week Get Unstuck and Happy as Fuck Challenge is in the middle. So another one will be offered at the beginning of next year. It should be, they are helping me. All these pioneering badasses are helping me get out the rinks and kinkles. Okay, the wrinkles and kinks, so that it's going to be smooth sailing for you, so that you're going to get an even better program. Okay, so thank them. But thank you again for, I've talked. This is what happens when I go off the cuff and I don't have an outline. I talk too long. It's what I do. But anyway, thank you for your time. I hope this pep talk helped. If you have something specific that you would like me to speak to, throw it in the group, message me. If you're ready for a 90-day relationship remodel and that's the Christmas gift you want to give to you early, I highly encourage that, and let's talk and get you going. We'll get you set up. But as always, you are badass. Thank you for your awesomeness. I have so much enjoyed my time with you, and I am already looking forward to next week. So have a good one. Mwah.